Hi everyone. Hi everyone. I'm Jack, and I'm going to be talking about the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor. So, Qin Shi Huang was the first emperor of China, uh, and he's part of the Qin dynasty who reigned in the late third century BCE. Um, he was buried in Xi'an, China, which you can see here in this part of eastern China, in an expansive mausoleum that has not been fully excavated. And this is sort of the most well-known thing about him is this place he was buried. And that's I'm going to be talking about a potential excavation of his tomb. So, of course, this site would hold a lot of historical significance because he's such an important figure in Chinese history. A lot can be learned from looking at his tomb and how he was buried. It is because it is just such a unique site. Because no other person in ancient China would be buried like this. Not even the emperors that succeeded him. No one has had this type of burial. And this image here at the bottom is right above the emperor's tomb where he's buried. This is what it looks like on the surface. Um, Previously, there have been excavations and research done uh, at the site, but uh, the surface has only been scratched in terms of like the extent of the things that are found here and the parts of the mausoleum that have been excavated. Um, the most famous part, the most famous discovery at the site is the Terracotta Army, which can be seen here. So Yang Zifa was the first to discover this Terracotta Army in 1974 when him and some of his brothers were digging a hole to build a well in the village that they lived in. They came across fragments of terracotta arrows that were a part of this. A group of archaeologists then came in and did excavation and found this huge army that laid here next to the tomb. So here you can just see a picture. You can really get the scale of just how huge this underground army was, full of these life-size terracotta warriors. And here is a map of the mausoleum. So this green pyramid is the tomb itself where the emperor is, and there's all these walls surrounding it. And then over here on the right, you see the terracotta army to the east of the tomb. And the army, these soldiers they're facing the east, almost like they are um, protecting the emperor from some sort of attack, some sort of invasion, because they are facing the ocean where, an invasion could come from. So there's clearly some kind of significance the to the army, which could be further explored through an excavation. Because while these pits where the terracotta army was found have been excavated and we've learned a lot, the tomb itself where the emperor was buried has not been excavated, and there's still a lot more to learn through an excavation of that area. So for the excavation, firstly, a survey of the area would need to be done to pinpoint the exact areas where the excavation would take place. Obviously, a lot of the area has already been mapped out from these other excavations, and we know a lot about the layout, but there still are um, things that are unknown about the layout of the mausoleum, specifically how deep certain parts of the mausoleum go. there is some discourse about um, yeah, just the extent to which the mausoleum is underground, and those are the kinds of things that would need to be uh, cleared up before an excavation is done. And then non-invasive mapping techniques would need to be employed to ensure that none of the precious, historical artifacts are damaged because they are so old, and because this is such a historically significant site. Uh, Lots of caution would need to be taken to ensure that nothing is damaged. And then these selected areas would be uh, excavated layer by layer to again ensure that uh, no damage is done to the site or any of the artifacts found here. So methods. So for the mapping, ground penetrating radar and LIDAR are two potential techniques that could be used to get a detailed map of the area. So this top picture here is an example of LIDAR being used. This is not the site that we're talking about. This is something else, but it shows how you can get a picture of the underground area using this technology. And then stratigraphic excavation will need to be used again, just to go layer by layer and to investigate each part and to just make sure that nothing is being damaged and also everything is being recorded and you know properly removed. And then for dating techniques, radiocarbon dating and thermoluminescence dating techniques would need to be used to just look at the chronology of everything found in there because there are so many artifacts in the mausoleum that have already been found. Like, for example, a gold chariot was found in one of the areas surrounding the tomb. And these artifacts will need to be dated just to see like when they were put there, if because it is interesting to look at whether those things were there when the emperor was buried, or if someone came and put that later, or just seeing the historical significance of all that. Um, Timetable wise, the preliminary survey and mapping would take about 6 months. The excavation itself would be a year and a half, and the analysis of the findings from the excavation would take about a year. So that's 3 years in total, which given how significant and how um, old this site is really not that long. And then budget wise, the total cost would be around $2.5 million, which would account for personnel, equipment, laboratory analysis, publication, and contingency funds, which is, of course, a lot of money. But given the context and the historical and cultural significance of the site, and also just the need for extreme caution to avoid, risking damages to the site, I do think that the budget is certainly worth it. And yeah, thank you.